Hey guys, it's Peyton, and today I'm going to be talking about all of the 5-star books that I read in March. So I read 4 books in March, all of them 5 stars. This hasn't happened in a while, so I'm very pleased that I had such a fun reading month. 4 books isn't as much as I wanted to read, but it's still something, and I enjoyed all the books that I read so much to the point where I think this was a success, so I might as well just go ahead and get into it. The first book that I read was Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Last Hours trilogy. It is a companion series to the Infernal Devices trilogy, which is a part of the Shadowhunters Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. You know, the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, the Dark Artifices. It's so many series by her, but if you don't know anything about her world, she pretty much has demon fighting people. They're half angel, half human. They kill demons. It's an urban fantasy setting. There is a bunch of supernatural beings as well. They're called downworlders. There's warlocks, fairies, werewolves, vampires. It's so interesting. I've been following her books since middle school when I first discovered them, and I've been waiting for this book specifically since middle school. And that is because, like I said, it's the companion series to the Infernal Devices. This is set in the 1900s. It's Edwardian England, and it is the children of the characters from the Infernal Devices, and the Infernal Devices trilogy is my favorite thing that Cassandra Clare has written. I love those characters to death. The characters is what really did it for me. So the fact that it's all about their children and we do see them as parents and everything. I am deceased. Obviously, I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I made a whole reading vlog for it. It's spoiler free if you want to check it out. I will put a card for it up above, but it was absolutely fantastic. And I must say, I'm not going to really explain it too much about this because it does spoil so many things, but this book was so cool because it actually went back to the roots of Shadowhunters and it was all about demons. Normally in her series, we have like one bad villain who's like a shadow hunter or like just a bad person, but this one is actually about demons, and there's these crazy demons that can come out in sunlight in this book, which demons can't do that, and they have very bad poisonous venom, and it's attacking the shadow hunters, and pretty much a lot of problems ensue from this. We have 3 main characters. We have James Herondale, Lucy Herondale, and Cordelia Carstairs, and I love them all so much. But I must say Cordelia is my favorite. She's on the cover and she's just so relatable. She's half Persian and just lovely. Like, I love the girl. And I must say there's so many side characters in this that I love so much, like Matthew and Thomas and Alistair. And, you know, the list goes on, but there's also people I freaking hate and I want to destroy. Read the book if you want to find out who that is, because it's pretty freaking obvious. Yeah, if you want to know more about my thoughts, definitely go watch my reading vlog, but overall, I just loved it. This book destroyed me. As I said in the title of my video, it just really got me going, and I cannot wait for the continuing books in this trilogy. The next book I read was Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. This is a graphic novel, and it was such a nice thing to change the pace for my month with because it's just such a pure, cute, gay romance book. And it's the 3rd one, so I've been following this series and they just make me so happy. It follows Nick and oh, that's not Nick. This is Nick and Charlie. And this graphic novel specifically follows their journey. They have a high school vacation trip to Paris, and these are like British boys, so it's not that far, but they take a trip to Paris and it's the cutest thing because they just started dating. They've been dating for like 3 months at this point, and the other volumes is them becoming friends, and the 2nd volume is like Nick's discovering his sexuality. He thinks he might be bisexual, and then this one is more about their relationship actually starting, and it's just the purest, cutest thing, and it also deals with hard topics such as eating disorders, bullying, and things like that, so definitely be aware of that before jumping into this one. I believe there was trigger warnings on the online version of this because this is actually a webcomic that was posted online before and you can keep reading it. So I've already read this book before I got the volume, but I reread it when it physically came out. But it's just so well done. The artwork is also super duper cute. It's adorable. I literally love Nick and Charlie so much, and I can't wait because the author is going to be publishing a novella, a written book. It's not going to be a graphic novel, I don't think. And it's about like years in the future, I think. I don't know, but it's already been out on ebook, but there's going to be a published version of the novella and I cannot wait. I think it's called Nick and Charlie and it's going to be so cute, I feel. This is so interesting because Nick and Charlie actually appear in Alice Oseman's 2 other books. They appear like in one scene in Radio Silence, but in Solitaire, it actually follows Charlie's sister. So they are in that book. I haven't read Solitaire yet, but I heard that and I need to read it just because they're in there and because Alice Oseman is my new favorite person. I can't wait to read that. The next book I read literally tore me up, even more than Chain of Gold, if I'm being honest. And that was House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, the first book in the Crescent City series. And oh my god, the tabs are all over the place. Lots of pink ones. The romance in here was so good. The slowest burn I've ever seen Sarah J. Maas do. If you don't know, Sarah J. Maas wrote the Throne of Glass series and the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. A lot of people have mixed opinions on those books, but I personally love them, so I was pretty positive I was probably going to love this too. This is her first official adult book. That ACOTAR series was supposed to be adult, but nobody really labeled it as that, so that's a big oof. But this is exclusively adult. It has been listed as that, so I think it was so well done. It is a high fantasy story, but it has vibes of urban fantasy-ish, just the world, because it is a fantasy world. Like, this is not our world whatsoever, but they have technology like phones and stuff. They have like pizza deliveries, just things like that, like normal things that we have, but we also have like literally every supernatural creature you could imagine. Sarah J. Maas's other books only really focused on like the fae and like witches and stuff, but this one had all types of things like werewolves, vampires, fairies, mermaid people, and angels, archangels, fallen angels. It's so interesting. I actually have a reading log for this one as well, so if you want more of my thoughts, you can go for that one. It's also spoiler free, but I will explain it a little bit. We have a main character, Bryce Quinlan. She is half fae, half human, and it says it in the description. She has an amazing friend group, and they pretty much all get terribly, brutally murdered, like torn to pieces, like they're literally red chunks on the ground sort of thing. I'm not even kidding. Someone that had a past with her friend, her name's Danica, gets locked up for it, and then 2 years later they find out that the murders the exact same way are happening again, and we know it's from a demon doing it, but someone's summoning the demon, so they need to figure that out, and the person that they thought it was ends up not being the person. So Bryce is on the mission to figure out who killed her friend because she has not been able to move on, especially now that she found out that the person that she thought killed her friend is not the person and they're still out there. Then we have our second main character, Hunt Athalar. He is a fallen angel. He's pretty much a slave to this archangel that is pretty much the governor of their city. Hunt is that dude's personal assassin. He has to kill thousands of people to pay off a debt for something. The archangel told him that if he finds out who murdered Danica and the rest of them, that he will lower his death thing to only 10 people. So he would only have to kill 10 more people instead of thousands. So he joins up with Bryce and have the slowest burn romance. They hate each other pretty much at first. And then they become really great friends that obviously really like each other, but they won't kiss. I'm telling you, we didn't get a kiss until 600 pages into this book. I also didn't mention that this book is 800 pages. It doesn't look like it because it has Bible pages. I thought every minute of it was fantastic though. it needed to be this long. It's a giant fantasy book with a very complex world and everything. So some people might be like, whoa, why is that book that long? But I personally felt that it was quite necessary. It's an adult fantasy. There's just so much to it. And because of this, there was so much character development and time for the characters to develop their relationship together. And then it just made you care about them so much more. So I really appreciated it, to be honest. And it took me for a journey, especially the last 100 or 2 pages. Whoa, it was chaotic. Like, I was not okay. I was crying. It hurt so bad. And I cannot wait to see what else is in store for this series, because it's definitely one of my new favorite things, one of my new favorite books for sure. I loved it so much. The final book that I read in March was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This was for my Hunger Games read-along. We read this book for March, and we're reading Mockingjay in April, so join us for that. We're probably going to have our live show for that in early May, because The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes comes out in May. That's our May book of the month, but we're probably going to have a live show in June since it comes out so late in May. And we actually already filmed the Catching Fire live show if you want to go watch that. And we actually have a whole playlist for the 2 live shows that we've done so far for this trilogy. If you don't already know, The Hunger Games is one of my favorite things of all time. Like, it is. Like, this is my favorite book, actually. As of now, this is my favorite book of all time. This is my 3rd time reading it, I believe. I read it last year, and I read it years before that, and I love this book so much. I actually listened to the audiobook this time, and it was so fun to do that because I just haven't read this book in that way before. It was an interesting change of pace. Still loved it as much as ever. 5 stars, of course. And I'm sure you probably already know the plot of The Hunger Games, where 24 kids get picked out of a pool and have to fight to the death in an arena, and only one can survive. It's chaotic and crazy and very sad, but revolutionary and beautiful. I highly recommend this trilogy. You might think that it's like overhyped and everything, but give it a chance, because you might actually find that this trilogy did things that nothing else was doing. No other YA dystopian hit this hard. It's better than just a freaking like time period of fandom. Like, it is something amazing, and I think people need to read it. People need to give it a chance. This is the time to do it. Join in on the read along if you want, because the 4th book is coming out and I literally can't believe it. I cannot believe we're getting a new book. Like, I might die. I might spontaneously combust, and I just hope to dear Jesus that it's actually good. So those are the 4 books that I read this month. I'm so pleased that I enjoyed all of them. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and if you liked them, you hated them, just let me know. I don't care. Like, tell me your opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like it, comment down below, have a good day. Please subscribe. Make sure to follow all my social medias, which are linked down below, and go click the bell button, which is right by the subscribe button, which you should have already clicked, and goodbye.